end up at this board or stage. It looks just like Genosha, or what Jubilee says, Ancient Genosha. This is a key point right here. So we spoke about how with Ukraine wanting to be part of the United Nations is very much just like Genosha trying to be part of the United Nations. This now is where Genosha, Ancient Genosha, it reminds me of how Middle East looks. Specifically, ancient Egypt looks just like the Nile River. So when I'm thinking about that, and if they want us to look at ancient Genosha like the Nile River, maybe they're talking about the Middle East when they're saying Genosha wants to be part of the United Nations. Let me explain another piece of global geopolitics that's going on right now. Most people know what's going on in the Middle East. It's chaos. Obviously, it can break out into a world war again. And just like before, the League of Nations was not doing its job completely. We all can be honest and say it looks like the United Nations right now is not doing its job completely. Hopefully that changes, and unlike the League of Nations, the United Nations is going to stay and they can fix things up. But the point is, there's a lot of nations over there specifically that are trying to be part of the United Nations, specifically with the whole Israel-Palestine thing. So that whole stuff was going on with Gaza, everything. Prayers and shout outs to everybody over there who's hurt, losing lives, missing anybody, hostages and all that stuff. But that is a reminder of Genosha and what's going on. They also have nations over there in the Middle East that are in these situations that want to be part of the United Nations officially. Obviously, there are parts over there that are already represented, but we'll move forward into this now. So now this is when we get to see Jubilee and Roberto. They're walking around the Genosha, what it looks like ancient Genosha, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. And look at what we have. The X Factor as mutant slaves. Slavery. Think about this. If we are talking about ancient Egypt, that's what Genosha looks like. And we see in the slaves, and for those who don't know the X Factor specifically are a group of, you can say, former X and current sometimes, because it changed throughout the years. But the X Factor, basically a group of mutants that work for the government, Department of Defense, basically. That's the long story short. So they like this agency group, and they go around trying to find bad, they like detectives, basically, trying to find bad mutants and take them out. So now, the X Factor, they're like slaves. Why is this important, and how does this make this seem like a parallel to ancient Egypt even more? One of the biggest theories, I'm not going to call it anything else but a theory because they're all theories, was how did the pyramids in ancient Egypt, Kemet, whatever you want to call it, how was it built? Some people say, well, there were slaves that built the pyramids. There are many people, and as a historian, I know other historians who actually hold true to that theory, that it had to have been slaves that built the pyramids, although all of the arguments are how specific and perfect everything was, the intellect that it had to take with every single move of those stones. But whatever, we're not going to get it too deep into that. The point is, just like that concept there, we're seeing these mutants, and the thing that they're saying is they're slaves, they're mutant slaves, and their only job is to build things, and they're moving big blocks. Very, very interesting. So moving right